And welcome back to another episode of Exceptional Relationships. I'm your co host, Jason Safford, founder of Exceptional Results Now, here with our exceptional coach, relationship coach, Ronique Clarke, who will be talking.
Hi, how are you?
Welcome. And today we're going to be talking about the importance of a good rant. Ronique, what are we talking about? Why is a good rant important?
Why is a good rant important?
Yes.
It ties into everything. Because if you're going to be around somebody, you should be able to unload, unload the day with them. And if you are not able to express yourself freely and frankly with that person, doesn't make any sense to have them around. Because we are already bombarded by, especially in the world that we live in term by how we are how we are supposed to say certain things or trying to be, we call it politically correct. And there's a lot of restrictions on what we can and cannot say. So when you go into your home and you shut the door and whoever is there, you should be able to, you should have that kind of relationship with that person to let all the guards down, let all the defenses down, and just be yourself. If you're feeling angry, if you're feeling sad, if you're feeling frustrated, you should be able to communicate that to either your family member who you live with, or a significant other, or a friend, or whatever the case may be. So the importance of a good rant, it is very, it does a lot of good for it for mental health, because you're not you're not internalizing anything, you're not bottling anything inside, and you're allowing yourself to let all those feelings out, so you're not, those feelings aren't festering. Because what will happen eventually is, if you let those feelings, sorry, fester, and you're not able to let it out, something is going to happen where all of that is going to come out. And so in a lot of ways, the way it comes out isn't necessarily the way that people like it. And you do more harm than good when that happens. So make sure whoever is around you, when you're frustrated and you're sad and you're upset about anything at all, you should be able to communicate that with them. And they should be able to be in a position to receive that and offer some sort of either solution to the problem if you ask. Because I know, even for a lot of people, how would I like to say this? It is very annoying when you rant to somebody and they automatically want to try and solve the problem. Sometimes it is good for the other person to just keep by your mouth and be quiet and just listen. So
So,
yeah.
so if I understand you correctly, part of the value of a good rant is in the person who's actually listening,
Yep.
just being willing to allow whoever it is that's speaking to, let it out
Yes.
and just be there to allow them to um,
To let it all
let
out.
it all out
Exactly.
comfortably.
Because a lot of times, you know what happened? A lot of times, um, we don't necessarily want a solution to the problem. We already know. A lot of us, we already know what we have to do. But what we need in that initial moment is somebody who is willing to listen. That is it. That is your only job in that situation, is to listen and to give some sort of support and to be a shoulder to cry on if you need to cry. And there is nothing wrong with crying. I cry sometimes by myself too. So yeah, it's, you can't keep those feelings in. So it's important for you to have that person to listen and to be that shoulder, to be that, we call it the 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 handkerchief, if you will, and just to be there. And if it's a problem that we would like a solution for, we're gonna ask, okay, what should I do? Or how should I go about doing X and Y or Z? So until the person asks, just be there.
Now, my question to you is that for the person who's listening, you actually mentioned that they may want to automatically help.
Yeah,
And that's one of the conflicts.
yeah.
So suddenly the person who is taking the information in, how do they not process this information, or how do they um, respond effectively to the person who's ranting in a way that makes that person understand that, number one, they care, but number two, that they want to be valuable in some way beyond just being a listening post.
Well, first things first, that person needs to express to that person, I am here for you. I am there. I'm gonna listen. And if you need to cry, I'll be here. If you need a shoulder to lean on, I am here. And if you need me to help you solve this problem, just let me know, communicate it to me, and I will gladly come in and be that helper that you need.
Mm-hmm.
So it's all about communication. It's all about what you say and how exactly you say it.
Mm-hmm.
Because you know what? When people try to come when you express certain things to them and they say, okay, you need to do this and you need to do that. Yes, it's coming from a good place, but as the Bible says, there's a time and place for everything under God's sun. So you have to know when it is appropriate for you to put in your 2 cents. So if if you want to put in your 2 cents on the issue, ask. Okay, can I are you okay with me putting in my input on this situation? And try to be as oh, hey, sorry. My computer does not. Yes, so yes, you try to be as, I'd like to say, as transparent as possible, and try to be as empathetic as possible. Because
Mm-hmm.
not a lot of people practice empathy, and not a lot of people will look at somebody that who is ranting or who's expressing themselves and saying, "Okay, I'm gonna put myself in this person's shoes. How does this person feel? How would I feel if I was in this position?" Not a
That's
lot of people.
interesting. And, I really want to appreciate something that you said about people and empathy, because I think, from the standpoint of coaching and leadership, and, we talk about this in Exceptional Results Now, about the impactful leader and the principle of empathy.
Yeah,
And from the standpoint of active listening and allowing somebody to rant,
yeah,
what I hear you saying is that allowing someone to vent whatever their issue is, and then simply asking them, you know, do you feel better by letting this all
yeah.
out?
Mm-hmm.
That's one of the places you could start. And then if you have feelings from what they've shared, you
Yeah,
can ask them, do you want my, opinion? Do you want me to share what you made me
yeah.
feel from this?
Mhm.
So it's a matter of then asking, rather than telling the person anything,
Yeah.
asking them where they are once they've
Yes.
given it, and
Mm-hmm.
finding out the common ground that they want to meet you at.
Yep.
So that being said, then let me ask you this question. What makes a person feel the need to rant with a level of comfort that you discussed? You said that, at the end of the day, you come home, you want that safety. but what is it that they're really getting out? What is the need that they have to let their guard down to someone else for?
Well, you know what? It all comes down to a matter of mutual respect. Because you know what? At the end of the day, when you go home and you need to rant to somebody, you respect that person enough and you admire that person enough to let your guard down in that way. Because if you don't if you don't respect that person on a particular level, you're not going to feel comfortable doing certain things around them,
That's interesting.
especially if it's your significant other. So it all comes down to a matter of respect. I respect this person in terms of what this person has done for me, the sort of person that is, I like to say, the kind of capacity that this person holds in my life. I respect them, and I respect their opinions, and I respect their feelings, and I respect the person they are. So I can come home and I can feel free to be myself, my my imperfect, flawed self with them, and they have that mutual respect for me to be themselves, yes, and still have that sort of empathy to say, all right, it might not be the time for me to say certain things, but I can take on another role. I can take on the the make the human handkerchief or the human pillow because we love our pillows. Yeah.
So, so if I hear you correctly, and again, I think that it's so important for our listeners to understand that what you're presenting is that when somebody needs to rant and they do it to you, even if it's about you, that they're doing it with a level of respect for you and a level of appreciation for you, that you're that important to them. And
Yeah.
whatever it is that they're ranting about is inconsequential in terms of their level of respect and love and appreciation for who you are. It's simply whatever is bothering them,
Yeah.
they need to get out, and they trust you
Yeah.
to
They,
be able
exactly.
to share it with.
They trust you to let that side out in front of you.
Mhm.
And of it takes a level of trust, it takes a level of respect, it takes a level of humility to have for a dialogue to come out of that. So when the when the time comes and the person lets out their feelings, when the person comes and says, okay, are you calm? You feel a little bit better now that you let all that out? And say, okay, yes or no. I said, all right. Would you like it if I put in my 2 cents on or try to input or try to see if I can try to find a solution to the problem? If the person is open to it, then sure, fine, but just tread lightly and just speak to the person how you would like to be spoken to, were if the tables were turned. And we have to be gentle, and we have to be kind, and we have to be compassionate towards the other person. So that's the only way conflicts are ever gonna be resolved.
And what do you think is the biggest misunderstanding between, or miscommunication really, between people when it comes to recognizing the value and the power of allowing one person to completely relieve themselves of whatever they're feeling?
Hmm.
And it could go both ways in terms of sharing through active
Yeah.
listening. But this is something that is so often miscommunicated. Why?
Well, people just love to try to come in and fix a problem when it's not their place. and I didn't ask. So that is where a lot of the conflict lies. And as I said before, it's people are, yes, I understand that people are coming from a good place when they're trying to fix something, but a lot of times we just don't want you to fix it because we already know how to fix it. If we want to ask, if we want you to fix it, we're gonna ask you, what can how can you help? How can you help to resolve this problem? Right? So a lot of times what happens is people say things and they're say things at a wrong time, and then people take certain things the wrong way, and that is where the miscommunication comes in. So you have to, when somebody's in that state of mind, you have to listen out for certain cues. So if the person is really and truly heated, that is your time to just listen. And that's all they really want, is just to listen. They just want a listening ear at that point. And you you listen out for certain things that may indicate that their mood is getting better, and you can tell a joke. You can tell a joke. You can say, all right, um, was there anything good that happened today? That's a reasonable question. Like, do your best to slowly transition out of the negativity and try to steer it into a positive note. And then you can say, okay, about what we were discussing earlier. Um, I I have an opinion. If you'd like to hear it, I'm more than happy to give it. So that's how you communicate with your significant other. You have to know, and it depends on the person, because once you know somebody long enough, you know exactly you know exactly what to listen out for.
So
That comes with time. That comes with time. That comes with getting to know somebody. That comes with that comes with constant conversations and listening to what makes them angry and what makes them sad, and being around them day to day. That is how you know what to listen out for and what you respond to.
mhm.
Because a lot of times when these things happen and miscommunications come up, is really because you have not taken the time to really know this person, really, to say, okay, let me see how I can maneuver through this. That is
So
where that is where all the conflict comes up.
okay. So let's try a good rant. We've got a couple of minutes.
A couple of
So so yeah, so I'm gonna be the active listener, and I'm gonna ask you, Ronique. Seems like something's bothering you. Is there something that you want to talk about?
mm, well, really want to know.
I do. I want you to
Ah,
share with me.
good.
Um,
Well, this is what the pros I have on the topic of respect. What I have realized is that when when the general public talk about showing respect to everyone, from the CEO to the janitor, it's really not true. Because what happens is, when you go into your house and shut the door and you're in your peace and tranquility, and for argument's sake, a phone call comes as a telemarketer. Can you imagine how? Let me tell you something. With those people, I have the utmost respect for them, because they have the worst job. Why? Because you're calling some people at some very odd times and you don't know the mental state that they're in. And yes, it is up to you to show respect for the person and say, hi, good evening, sorry to disturb you, or whatever. But A lot of these people, they they don't have they don't have any they don't have any sort of respect for strangers, and they don't know who they're talking to. So when they talk about showing respect to the CEO all the way down to the janitor, it's not really true, because the only thing they respect is money. Only thing they respect is money, and I don't understand why. And it's just ugh, boy, why? I wish I could have cussed some of them. I really wish, because you know what? These people do not know who is on the other end of that phone call. They haven't even taken the time to really listen, to actively listen. I can understand if you're not interested in doing certain things, fine. That is all good and well, but there's a way in which to say I am not interested and thank the person. Because you don't know, you with you lashing out at somebody for no particular reason. Why are you putting all that extra negative energy out into the world when it's not called for? It's not. It is not. And I don't know how people behave like that. And they talk about looking after the other person and looking after, um, especially in this time of COVID-19, where everybody is saying, oh, you have to wear a mask, and everybody's, oh, we have to look out for the person next to us by wearing a mask. What about looking after the other person's well-being and mental health and emotional emotional health? How are you looking after somebody else's emotional health when you don't know who it is you're talking to over the phone? You don't know if you don't know if it's a struggling mother who is just, um I'd like to say, earning a bit of extra money on earning a little bit of extra money to feed her children, or if it's a high school student who is doing something just to earn a little extra money on the side so they have a little pocket change. You don't know these people, so why are you um putting out negative energy out into the world when you don't know these people? And what should what emphasis really should be placed on having respect, having manners overall, right? It's I can and regardless of whether or not somebody show has manners towards you, always show manners, because that is how, I don't know about anybody else, that is how I was raised. You have manners towards everyone. You say please, you say thank you, you say good morning, you say good afternoon, you say good evening. That is how we as Jamaicans were raised. And I really wish that a lot of these people, I really wish they took a time and went down to Jamaica and spent some time with some Jamaican people, because we know say manners in this world, manners and respect goes a long, long way in life. They do. Manners and respect towards your parents and respect towards your elders, regardless of how they behave. That's my end of my rant. So
Ronique, how do you feel?
ah,
You feel better?
mm, boy, I did.
Is
And
there?
honestly, after this particular episode, I really wish people sit down and listen to what we have to say, because it's really true.
Yeah.
Look at yourself in the mirror. If somebody randomly calls you, yes, I can understand that there are a whole lot of devious people who are just trying to scam people for their money. I'm not saying that is not out there, understandable, but at the end of the day, still show respect, still have manners. Because at the end of the day, you know what happened? A lot of these people, they don't know what the hell they're doing. They don't know who they're doing certain things for. They just know that this is their shift and this is what they have to do to make an extra dollar. If you're not interested, then you're just not interested. Have a little respect, have some manners, because you don't know who you're talking to, you don't know the mental space, they don't know the sort of mental space that they're in. You
You know,
don't, and you don't know, and you don't know their situation.
yeah.
Right? And what is worse, you don't even take time to ask. So please be mindful of that when you communicate with strangers. Please be mindful of that, because you don't know the sort of mental space that they're in.
I want to thank you, and I really want to recognize that if I'm hearing you correctly, what you're pointing out both to me and to our listeners is
Mhm.
that one of our biggest challenges, especially in this modern world, is
Mhm.
that we're not taking time to really recognize each person that we interact with on a daily
Yep.
basis,
Yep.
making sure that we're treating them with the equality and the equivalent
Yep.
that
Uh-huh.
we want to be.
And you know what? A lot of people are not treating others the way they would want to be treated. Because if the tables were turned and you were in the other person's position, would you want to be treated that way? No. So why would you want to treat another person's child that way? Because regardless of whatever it is, it's still somebody's child, no matter how old they are.
Yeah, yeah. So, you know, again, I want to thank you for, really bringing this to the surface, because I think I really understand how much more important it is to allow people to have their airtime and their space to be able to let their guard down and share with them, with whoever it is that, that they're sharing with. But I also think that it's really important for the other person to recognize how valuable the experience is, because just in
Yes,
seeing
true.
your face as you gave that rant, the reality is that your face and demeanor changed, and at the end, you even gave us an because it felt good
Mhm.
for you to let it out, and that actually made me feel good. So, I'm glad that I was able to, listen and allow you to share that, because it did feel good when you said,
Mm.
that feels good. So, in wrapping up, what is the most important question that our listeners can walk away with to ask someone that can help them with, really recognizing this tool and using it effectively?
One important question. What do you need from me? What do you need from me? That is that is one important question, where you know exactly the person will tell you
Mhm.
how you need to behave around them in that moment. What do you need from me?
And that leads into obviously another episode in which we get into being honest with yourself as well as the other person
Yep.
in terms of
Hmm.
sharing what you really need. So
Yes.
with that,
And and then another thing I would love to put out to the listeners as well. Please be kind. Truly, truly. Because you know what? There is so much negativity out in this world that it is hard to find a positive force that can change the change the course of the day, or even the week, or even the course of one moment. Just be kind, because at the end of the day, you do not if the tables were turned, you would not want to be treated a specific way. So be
Ronique,
kind to everyone, please.
Ronique,
Yeah, plural no. Be
I'm sorry to
kind.
hear that.
And the thing about it is, it all starts at home. It all starts at home. Once you instill certain values and you look yourself in the mirror and you are honest with yourself about who you are, and how what you can do to make this world a better place, and you actually take steps to do that, you would be surprised how the world changes, because everybody is expecting some external force to just change the world. It's not going to happen that way. What is going to happen is we as a collective have to look inside ourselves and look at what we can do as individuals to make this world a bit better. And it all starts with us.
Ronique, that was wonderful. I want to thank you as my fabulous co-host, and I look forward to our next episode. Again, this is Exceptional Relationships with Jason and Ronique, and you can find us at exceptionalresultsnow.com. And if you need relationship coaching, our wonderful Ronique is our exceptional coach in relationships. So you can go to our website to inquire more, and we would love to help as many people as possible to
Yes.
connect with themselves and with others the most effectively. So have a great day.
And have a great day as well. And lots of love and light and lots of positivity, and just let's see what there is a known radio host down in Jamaica, and he always ends this, he always says this: take care of yourselves and each other. So I'm gonna take care of yourselves and each other.
Wonderful.